Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, Books, Curse, and Purrs. My name's Leslie, and I'm doing a live check-in. This is kind of last minute, so I'm not really expecting anyone to be here. um, Life has just been crazy, and last night during my reading sprint, I just thought I should just really outline this and figure things out, as well as Ven from Ven's Corner just had their own check-in. And actually, I just missed Ashley. Ashley, from my perspective, was just having their check-in, and I missed it because I was trying to look decent for what's going on. All right, so we have a whole little agenda to talk about, and I'm kind of hoping if I just like talk through it, maybe I will be coherent in everything that I need to get done on my channel, and just like, life in general. All right, so life update. I actually just wanted to say a big thank you to everyone. Not too long ago, maybe like a month ago already, I had posted about starting a new job. This has been a tumultuous time for me. Last year in September, right, I think like right after my birthday, I left a job that I was at for an entire decade. The company I was at was bought out by another company that's in the business of buying companies. And so, yeah, that probably says it all. It did not go well. And the people that worked at this new company were just like really toxic and terrible, and treated staff really badly. Not just me, just like everyone. And one by one, people like left, which is probably really what like they wanted everyone to do. Lynn, I'm happy to see you here. I'm really just doing like a chatty bit of talking through everything like in August and life update, so you know. But I'm glad to see you here. I missed you last night during sprints, but I know your life is just as busy as mine. And also, if you don't mind asking, how's your daughter doing? I know we're kind of like in the same boat. So yes, since September, I've either gone through like bouts of like not having a job, to having a job but like just to get by, to I have gray hair. I'm 40. I have like a bit of an existential professional crisis of like, I want a job. I want like a decent paying job. I'm realistic in this economy. I'm clearly not going to get what I used to get paid, but I also don't want to work for people that treat people badly. So I finally became permanent after like a week of being a temp at a job. I have to let my cat out. Hold on one second. Ginger. Go ahead. Don't come back crying. Sorry, Ginger. Just came to use the restroom and then left. So yeah, interested to hear things how they're going with me. They're going. Hey Ven, I was just talking about you earlier. Popping in while I murder my hair. Hey, I also, and speaking of pop in, I was like popping in and out of your stream just because I was getting ready this morning. And you're 8 hours ahead of me as well, I think, because it's 10 a.m. where I'm at. Anyways, let me know. Or maybe I'm wrong. Lynn, my daughter is starting another short-term contract job next month. Yeah. I am very happy for her that she's like making some sort of like dent, It's 6 p.m. Yeah. Okay, that's so funny. I'm learning to keep track of the time. It's so funny. So when I see in the morning, I'm thinking it's morning there, even though I know there's like a time twilight zone time thing going on. And then I have to like correct myself. I'm like, oh no, it's probably the evening, so it's better for you. But yeah, so anyways, I'm currently working at like a local law firm as like a button pusher. But although I do need a better paying job, this is the first time in a long time where we're people that like treat other people like decent human beings. And so I'm just basking in that experience. Like majority of the staff are just all lawyers. They all go into the office, and it's all just like very like a hello and lock themselves in their room. But I also get like the experience of being around people, and I haven't really had that since the pandemic happened. So I used to work in an office that was local, but when the pandemic happened, um, the job permanently had everyone working from home. And although it was convenient because my daughter was in high school, so as terrible as everything was going on around the world, as far as like being a single parent, that worked out. But it wasn't really good for my mental health because I already had like social anxiety, always been a little bit awkward, but the pandemic made it worse. So having a job every day where, I mean, Monday through Friday, where I have to drive somewhere and like be forced to socialize and getting into like some of the social norms is actually really mentally helpful for me. Um, if I don't see a shift like financially by the end of the year, I know that's like a short time to be at a company, but I know my worth, then I'm going to start looking for a job again. But right now, I'm just like enjoying having a stable job. To me, that's a win. So again, circling back to thank you for everyone who left me comments on my post of encouragement, because I needed it. I always felt so drained. I was at I don't want to say where, but I had like a temp position somewhere else for 3 months, but because of funding, they were going to just keep extending my contract. And I just can't imagine, like, I live in the United States. We don't have universal health care. I can't be somewhere where they're just going to keep doing that and not give me health benefits. And also, it was not a good situation at that job anyways. It was like very intense, and like I don't mind if the job I do is intense, but I at least need the foundation of like my superiors and coworkers to be stable. And they were like a wild bunch, and I'm like, I can't do that. Then still streaming, so if this bleaching goes badly, then it will be a live reveal. Then you're so funny. Oh my gosh. You're gorgeous either way, then. Then yay for a job that treats people as human. It's, let me tell you, this is like, I'm so proud of myself I didn't cry. Like I literally walked into like my little, like I have like a little office, or I'm doing my paperwork. Everyone has an office. And like I guess you could say the boss overall at this law firm, one of the lawyers, he has like he's very soft spoken. So much so I have to like really like listen to what he's saying because he's so like soft spoken. In the morning, I'm like getting to work. He comes in and he says, "Hey, Leslie, I made too much guacamole last night, so I'm giving everyone like guacamole and chips." He literally showed up and just started like giving everybody food. And it was so sweet. Not that anybody needs to do that, but it's like those little things of someone just being nice and thoughtful. I was just like, I've never experienced this before in my life. Everybody is usually bananas. Lynn, my son just showed me AI agent. I think it's called, no joke, all the jobs are disappearing. Wow. That also feels like a long time coming. There's always been like some sort of devices to supplement jobs. One of the things, this is like uh yeah, I can't believe I'm saying this, more than a decade, maybe 20 years. I worked at a hospital, and at this hospital they introduced like check-in kiosks, and I like refused to use them. Come on in, baby. Oh, this is Ginger. Thank you. Ginger came in again. She's just over here to drive me nuts. Anyway, so they introduced like these check-in kiosks, but I just refuse to use them because I feel like it's also what goes on. I think at McDonald's is I think they have people order from like apps or like devices, so they really, some of these like big corporations that have the money behind it are just trying to replace humans, and it sucks. It's just like the economy is already bad. not to spiral too much. But I live in the States, so we already have an administration that's trying to dismantle the education system, all the while like trying to criminalize people not being educated at the same time. So it's just like fitting that privatized prison institution, you know? Come on, girl, get in there. Okay. I'll turn the screen later so you can see her, but she can't make up her mind. She was in there earlier and then she jumped out. So, but also on another note, then this particular administration is trying to they're like overhauling like the loan payment service. They're like privatizing it. It's a mess over here. Basically, it's a mess. So I'm glad you're my buddy across the border. Good morning, Glenda. Glenda says hello to Ben and Mad World. Ben's Corner says hi, Glenda. So does Lynn. Ben, I still work retail, so by the end of the day, I am so over people. Yeah. Definitely. I mean, most of my life, I've been in like some form of like the service industry, like something that requires customer service. Yeah, so the job that I had been at for about a decade was very much like that. But I like the job that I did because I felt like it was being helpful. It was like I don't work there anymore, but it has to do with accident insurance at community colleges. So if a student would get injured, that's when like our company would come in and help out with like bills and stuff. And that's like the rare instance of hearing about or being a part of like an insurance industry that isn't denying anyone. Again, the American healthcare system is terrible. But yeah, definitely some upset people, but I always liked my job, basically, is what I'm getting at. Darfalina, good morning. Were you in Ashley's live? I caught the end of it. I'm gonna go back and watch. I'm behind on everything. But she had a live check-in, and I'm surprised she was in my chat last night and she didn't mention it. I don't know. Maybe it was on her channel already and I didn't realize. But yeah, I gotta catch up. Anyways, glad to see you here. Good morning. So where was I? I think that was up. I literally have notes because I get a little bit unhinged. But yeah, so that's what's going on with like my employment at the very much. I'm gonna go back and watch too because I didn't get a notification. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I did. You know what? That's true. Anyways, let me. My mind is wandering. But yeah, I caught the tail end. And you know what? Ashley's lives always look gorgeous. I'm like barely hanging on every day. So, anyways, I'm already getting caught up in their vibes. All right, so yeah, that's all for my live update. Just like as far as my channel goes, I started removing all my past book hauls. I think the only book hauls I have are from this year. I think I have a book, not a book. I have a vlog of stopping by a local bookshop. And I have another one that's kind of like a vlog, and that's going to Octavia's bookshelf. I think for now on, if I do a book haul, I want to like require myself to make it more about like the small business I'm going to rather than just focusing on the books that I'm reading. So book hauls will be far and few between. Again, I just like privated all my other ones just because the more I thought about it, the more I felt like I don't think that really reflects what I'm trying to do anyways. And in the booktube space, I feel like the videos that do like well are book hauls. But again, it doesn't really reflect what I'm trying to capture. And clearly I love to book buy and binge, but it feels more I don't know, it feels like too capitalistic. And so I'm trying to like just overhaul. I have some old videos of like long form what do you call it? discussions, like spoiler discussions. I did that like last year. Those never did well, so I might private those as well. Just because I'm kind of like, I don't know. It just isn't really, nothing really goes on there. All right. Darfelina, watching the Washington Black live is in my plans today since I missed it being on vacation. Okay. Are they covering there? I feel like I sound like I'm not listening. Are they, I have to pop in on their channel. Are they going to cover it? Like, are they doing watch alongs basically? I'm asking you while I'm live because I haven't checked. Because I did have a discussion with Kwana from her Real Reviews Reads, because she has like two channels. And then I like buddy read the book with somebody else because Kwana was busy. She went and she saw like Beyonce at a state. So I was like, I get it. You don't have the time. So she like binge read the book before our discussion. But yeah, I saw the first episode. I saw a preview for like a different episode. I think Hulu dumped all the episodes, but it's not really a show I feel like binge watching. I kind of want to like watch an episode and like kind of sit with my thoughts and then watch another episode, because they're definitely expanding on some things that were not in the book that I noticed. So, Lynn, book hauls are my least favorite booktube content. Yeah, but you know what? I know they seem to be the ones that do really well, and I don't really get it. But you know what? You're my vibe. I think we get each other, Lynn. And yeah, so I sometimes I feel like it doesn't really, I don't know. Not that a booktube channel needs to reflect who I am, but I really don't feel like it does. And so it just doesn't sit right with me. So as I taste my spoon, I'm having coffee. Glenna says, hello, Darfelina. Darfelina says, hello. No, I'm talking about your book. Oh, okay. Sorry. Thank you. Sorry. I have like a one track mind sometimes. Well, I hope you enjoy it. It was like, I think a little bit spoilery, just because at some point we're just like digging into it. But I hope you enjoy it. I hope you get a chance to pick up the book and read it, because it ended up being really beautiful. I was not planning on reading the book at all. And in fact, Kwana hadn't even reached out to me yet. I just saw her, like her two videos she put out, like her book tag and announcing the book that she was going to read. And I just never heard of it. And I really do like historical fiction. So that's kind of why I ended up picking it up. And it's honestly probably one of the best books I read this year. It was just very beautiful, deep, hard at times to read, but like really worth it. So let's talk about my Sky High TBR. This did change a little bit from what I thought I was going to discuss, because here's the first one. For my interview with Vampire Inspired Readathon, I have like my slotted books to read right now for Claudia, and I'm reading Rant, and I think I was feeling the pressure of time because I'm already like 1 week behind for myself, my own agenda of when to get book reviews out. This is not it, and I just decided like last night I'm not going to finish this book, so that'll make room for other books, because I was feeling stressed out. I am not liking this book. Chuck Palahniuk is the same person who wrote Fight Club. If anyone's not familiar with him, he's already like a beloved author because he writes this like kind of like really violent world. There's a lot of like social commentary, and I only bring up Fight Club because it was made into a movie, so it's kind of like everyone's go-to connection to him. I already spoiled it, so I already know what goes on, and it still doesn't justify like how I don't like the experience of writing it. So I'm letting it go. So although I thought this was going to like stress me out, I've already created a solution. I'm just not going to continue it, because yes, like Margaret Pernard said, like Elaine said from Cobalt Dragon, life's too short. Why am I doing this to myself? Definitely not. Yeah, I love the book. Hopefully, I get to chat a little bit about it in the comments after I watch the video since I missed it live. Yeah, I always lean in. I gotta stop doing that. I'm so glad you read it. So I'm glad to know. Yeah, I'm glad to know that you read it and that you liked it. I wasn't sure if you read it. Um, if you want, you don't have to. Will I get the notices? If you want, I have my Instagram with the same handle. You could just like message me and say, "Hey, I'm watching it now," and then I'll like kind of watch along with you so we could chat about it. Don't worry about timeline. It's whenever that works for you. Can you hear my cat snoring? Anyways, um, I'll ask you now, but just like think about it, because the way that I took what the ending meant and what Kwana thought it meant were different. And she like talked about the ending, but then I kind of let it go because then I thought, well, maybe I'm wrong. But then I was buddy reading the book with somebody else, and they had the same take that I had, and I think we just have maybe more of a dismal point of view of the world. I don't know. Anyways, so basically, thoughts on the ending. Lynn, I'm glad you're doing that, Leslie. Sometimes we impose too much on ourselves. Yeah. Yeah, but also, yes. I'm trying to accept the truth because my daughter was saying the same thing that you and Margaret were saying. They're like, whose agenda? It's your own. You're making it up. I'm like, okay. I'll try to accept that. But also, the last readathon I did was for Madeline, and so many of those books I didn't like. And because of that, I kind of like mess things up for myself because I don't have enough time to read a replacement book. But I also don't feel like I'm really connecting the book to the character, which is the whole point because it's supposed to be like in celebration of these characters. And then I can't do that. So that's the only thing that's like a bit of a double-edged sword, in my opinion. I don't know. Then not like you'll run out of books to read. That's true. I'm feeling very good about how many books I've read for my own shelf. Because it's been wild. Then I am really bad at DNFing books. Yeah, me too. I struggle with that. And Ketchy from Library of Wonder is really great at DNFing. If they hit a certain point and that's not hitting, DNF. And I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to let go. But also I like typically to finish a book so I could talk about what didn't work for me. And I feel like that's a little bit of a disservice to the book if I'm just DNFing it. But so the shame spiral continues. Lynn, some books, especially nonfiction, I can take months to read. Yeah. Yeah, but instead of me accepting that I can't finish it, I'll like force myself and I just make it worse because then it drags on, which is it's my problem. All right, TBR rant. Another book. So this is DNF. Queen of the Damned. Read, finished. Here's the thing. Lynn had been. I'm gonna put this up. Lynn had been buddy reading with me last year, right? I think maybe like November we read Interview with the Vampire. December we read The Vampire Lestat, something like that. And then I kind of dropped off because I started kicking off my readathon. Well, Elaine from Cobalt Dragon, along with Kat from Ginger Bibliophile, and Alan from Big Hard Books, and somebody else, something with an S. Then correct me because I forget. I'm going to chat with him on and Voxer. I can't think right now. We've already discussed the books on Elaine's channel, basically. So then that made me pick up Queen of the Damned. So I've read Queen of the Damned. We are going to discuss this. But I'll let me go down my TBR because I'll start going off on a tangent. Basically, that's why I'm reading it. I'm reading it for our book discussion. And then in August, I'll slowly be reading Tale of the Body Thief. That's what I'll do. The other one is, oh yeah. Here's a couple of ones. I'm also buddy reading Social Justice for the Sensitive Soul with Margaret Pennard because I'm going to be making an appearance on their channel, which I'll talk about later. I visited my sister like on her side of town. Stopped by a local bookstore, picked this up because it tickled my fancy. As someone that feels like there's so much going on in the world, but I don't really know how to navigate, or like how do I take the baby steps to contributing to something, anything, it's like, again, it's not like about making any big waves, just making like a little baby step of a dent. And so I thought this would be a good book because it's talking about social justice and action for like introverts, or just like maybe the way that I frame or I've seen activism. It's not really like a one size fits all. So I need to kind of like break away from that thinking. Again, I haven't started yet, but I am going to start reading it. Since I DNF'd Rent, that'll give me time to read this, which I have to get to. And the other section, hold on one second. I have a book I just want to brush up on. I'm literally going to like speed read through it. And that is Decolonizing the Mind, only because the author passed away at the end of May, and I might bring this up during like Margaret's stream. She's a very like concise, not concise individual. Like her segments that she put forth are very concise. I'm kind of a chaos demon, but she's already aware that I kind of just at least want to mention him in the segment, but this will all make sense later. As I'm done discussing my TBR. I finished it. Okay. Okay, well, definitely hope on IG. Thank you. I'll be here. All right, so what's going on next? Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and dig into the YouTube appearances on other channels and what is it exactly. So we're just talking about these last two books, which are Social Justice for the Sensitive Soul and Decolonizing the Mind. Yes, I'm going to be on Margaret's channel. Here goes Ginger. Okay, cool. I'm going to be on Margaret's channel, and it's going to be for Agitation August, which takes place on the 7th at 7 p.m. for myself. But she's going to have like guests throughout the month of August. So please go send your support, just listen in. Margaret's really great at like questions. I don't always feel like I'm really good at like crafting questions. And so Margaret is the first channel that I had ever been on a live. And one of them was her fireside chats. So basically every August she has like a special event, and it's different every time, but she really tries to like pack on live guests during that month. She's been like a very positive, supportive person, and welcoming into a community that I didn't even know like existed. I didn't know what I was doing. And so always appreciate her. So yes, I did fireside chats, was basically like a very relaxing discussion about like just introducing each guest into like the booktube world, and just having like a downtime in between, like basically like a sprint. And then after that, she had Wind Down Wednesdays, which was on a different year. I think that was last year. And it was just about fueling one's creative soul, and how we could do that. And so she had a whole bunch of different guests and discussing that. And so, yes, now we're going to participate in Agitation August, which is really discussing maybe a book in your lifetime that you felt like sparked something inside you, and why. Again, I'm skirting the rules a little bit because I really want to read this book. So it's more decolonizing the mind that did it for me. But I desperately wanted to buddy read this book with with Margaret, she also knows our author. And because my readathon, it just pushes back so much. And I didn't want to not buddy read this with her. And I felt like this also still fit in what we're trying to get at, or what Margaret's trying to get at on her channel for the month of August. So that's kind of like why I'm tackling those two. Do you have a Googie Why the Youngo book that you own but haven't read it? Yes. You know what? I'm gonna discuss that in just a minute. It's so funny that you say that. I do. I'm gonna leave this up so I'll make sure I answer it. I do plan on answering that though. What is the other appearance? Oh yeah, okay, so yes. Back to Queen of the Damned. I'm gonna be on Elaine's channel on August 9th. So I have a small window of time to read this. I'm feeling so much better now that I know I DNF'd Rant, because that was a holdup. I was thinking, okay, now I have to read Rant. I almost thought I had to read The Body Thief back to back, so I thought it was going to be like a two book discussion, but Elaine just got back to me and said we're just going to discuss Queen of the Damned, so I'm feeling better in terms of like my reading pile. So yeah, so that will be 3 Eastern, 12 my time Pacific on the 9th, which I think is like a Saturday or Sunday. I'm going to be on Elaine's channel, so like I'll be on Margaret's channel on the 7th, and then like 2 days later I'll be on Elaine's. But yes, that's kind of where I'm at as far as like appearances. All right, so let's talk about my inability to manage expectations. What was it? Okay, so not this year. Last year, I spent the whole year kind of like on the back end putting together this readathon that's going to go on for 2 years for Into the Empire. But I always have like these delusional goals. I'll get like an idea and it'll spark something in me, and I'll have like bouts of insomnia, and I'm like, I have to do this thing. It's really like a Frankenstein mentality. So like my delusional goal was, I'm going to do this, and that hopefully I would have a live show at the end of each month of the readathon, right? So today would have been a live show, but I couldn't really find anyone that was interested in having a live book discussion that also read, what am I saying, not read, watched a show. So that's a bit of the caveat. I need people to have watched the show, because I'm trying to highlight the show. I'm trying to like, I'm in this little small corner of the fandom, and I just want the show to grow. The first season was released on Netflix, and it didn't seem to take off. I don't know why. The show's incredible. It's so frustrating. So, and not only that, I also, in my own way, want to like celebrate the fandom. But people have busy lives, or I'm also reaching out to people that are not really in the booktube space, so they're not necessarily interested. So there are some people that like I engage with in the fandom that I've reached out and asked and are not interested, which is fine. That's their prerogative, of course. That's the whole point of asking, right? I can expect like one particular answer. So I don't know. This month there's no live show. Again, that would have been today, because I try to schedule them at the end of the month. And then there's like one other person that it's kind of like giving me a lukewarm response. So there might not be a live show at the end of August. But at this point, I'm at peace with it, because again, I have like other events going on. And I just want to make room for it. So if anyone's not interested, I'm just like, okay, great. This actually helps me time management, which I have a bad relationship with, because I'm so bad with it. So basically my delusional goal is like locking down other people while also juggling life, while also juggling reading, and also juggling reading other books for other channels, and think I could do that, and it's just not possible. So that's kind of where I'm at with like delusional goals versus like reality. Also, like I think at the beginning of this year, or if not the end of December, I think it was at the beginning of this year. I like set goals for myself, just like life goals, like be more mindful, take like mindful breaks like once every day, write in a gratitude journal, save money, crochet more because I really want to make that into business. And I'm like failing all my goals except for saving money because I don't have any. So, so there you go. I'm saving money that way. Also, one of them was getting like a job that was like better paying, and I have a job. I have a job. I'm paying my bills. So again, it's delusional versus reality. Um, I would love to start. I wanted to make like yeah, you know what, Darfelina? I used to be really good at it. Like I was obsessed that I could literally like, you know, pat myself on the back too hard because I really liked what I would create, but it dropped off. So I really don't think I'm good at it anymore. But my delusional goal was I want to get like a this is how much I don't know. I was like, should I get like a business license and try to sell stuff? Not that I really need that. But I wanted to make like book cozies, but Interview with the Vampire inspired. So what I wanted to do was like every time I cover a character, I'm also like making book cozies like reflective of the character and to sell them. But the way that life is lifing, not gonna happen, at least not this year. Which is a bummer, especially for like Louis. I had this whole idea that I was gonna do like a deep red, and there's like a crochet pattern that has like a little bit of a wave because his emotions are so like all over the place. Or like he lashes out a lot. Anyways, artistically, that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, I want to use that kind of like wave design for him. So, and I have an idea for like every character, but it's just not going to happen. I don't have the time or the resources at this point. So, anyways, oh, you're so sweet. Yes, do that. I can buy some. You're very sweet. Yeah. Also, I because my ideas get so wild. Like I have to teach myself because I don't want it to not be good. Like I want to teach myself how to like add a lining. And the truth is, like, out of practicality, I'd probably use like a cloth lining from like a local store or something that makes more sense. But like the delusional part of me would be like, oh, it'd be kind of cool to have like a fleur-de-lis pattern for the inside. Anyways, what I think of and then what I could do are like two different things. But thank you for your support. You're always a sweetie. But yeah, I'm back to my delusional goals. Um, Also, something I found out last night during my live sprint was I looked at the back end on YouTube and I looked at there's like a tab and it's called mentions. And I looked and I realized I have 10 book tags, all right, that I have not done. So I was trying to save doing book tags for like the months I'm not doing my readathon because I have like that 1 month break in between. But I'm gonna have to kind of like spread it out more. I'm gonna have to do some in August and then some in September to balance it all out because I can't have like 10 coming out in September. It would just be that's like crazy. I'm just behind. So that was like another thing that I tacked on last night that I didn't realize I was behind on. Darfelina, I knit and I also want to learn how to sew in linings for the oursies I make. Oh, okay, the oursies. What's that? You'll tell me in a second. Um, yeah, there's like a knitting store. Persis, hello. I'm sorry. Usually, because I'm the queen of misspelling. Usually, I could figure it out, but I couldn't that one. Sorry, sweetie. For the person I make, that's cool. That's really cool. Yeah. Anyways, there's like I think it's called the Knitting Factory. It's been so long since I've been there, but they have like classes about um like cutting into a project and then like adding the zipper, like gluing on the zipper and stuff like that. But also there's YouTube University. I'm sure we could figure it out, but I have to make the time. I have to figure it out. Also, that's very cool. I'd really like to see what you put together. All right, potential projects. After I've said all this, uh, which is I'm swinging back to Lynn's question. So yeah, so last year Lynn and I buddy read Indie Vampire, The Vampire Lestat. And so after each one, I would like make videos discussing the book. I don't think I kind of feel like I'm not really good at that yet. I still feel like I'm just like paraphrasing what happened in the book and I'm not really adding my thoughts into it. And because I'm going on Elaine's channel, I don't want to do something redundant. So I still want to have like a little discussion about like a spoiler discussion about Queen of the Damned. But and I'm thinking that if anyone, maybe I should do a poll. If anyone's actually interested in watching, I'm not going to make it long. I don't think. I just want to comb through the book Queen of the Damned and like talk about what parts of the book have been and adapted into the show that we've seen thus far. Before, because here's the thing, the show, like the first 2 seasons, it is covering Interview the Vampire, the first book, as far as like Louis' arc, but they're grabbing from all the books. So there's plenty of things that I'm seeing here and there and realizing like, oh, they're pulling this character from the Vampire Lestat. This dialogue I'm hearing is actually from Queen of the Damned. Or this event that takes place doesn't happen till like, I don't know, between books 7 and 9, which is in Merrick. And so they're doing that because they're just like trying to make sure that the characters have a rich, consistent arc that makes sense. All the while staying true to like what Anne Rice was trying to say with her work. And I just like want to celebrate that more because I also feel like some people that haven't seen the show because maybe they love the books and they kind of maybe they see a trailer and they think it's so different, but I think quite the opposite. I think this is like, it feels like the most Anne Rice entity I've seen. And I love the old movie from like what was that, the mid 90s with Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise. I was fine with it because that's just what I had. And it's a movie. And as terrible as Queen of the Damned is, it's a movie. But where was I going with this? Yeah, I just think that again, this is like the most Anne Rice in terms of like message, staying true to the characters. And I'm just like thankful that I live in a time where like that's really happening. But I feel like I just want to add to the conversation of like making those connections. So I might do a video like that. That way I'm differentiating myself enough from whatever discussions I have with Elaine on her channel. I'm trying to catch up to where I was at. Skiing. Although I'm terrified of taking scissors to my project. Yeah, I think that's like something that they were like trying to tackle is that like very thought of cutting into a project that feels like it'll ruin it. Oh, also with making jackets that had something to do with it, or anyways, I just found it like very interesting, and but I did not take the class. But I always get the promo emails and stuff like that. Cat Paw Rosales. Sticky, it's terrifying. One thing to know about is you have to use untreated wool, so not machine washable. That will felt a bit when washing. Oh, that's interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. There's this whole other process that I don't know about. I can't think of the words, but it's also about like how you use that, not conditioner, you use that liquid to like set the yarn. I don't know. There's like so much I don't know. Wool is my favorite fiber, so that's easy. Yeah, I haven't used this because it's so pretty. My daughter got this for me when she was in New Orleans with her school at the quarter stitch, which I thought was so cute. I didn't want to throw this away. Um, but she got me the Noro yarn, which by the way, we could get here, but she was she happened to be at the store and she just thought it was pretty. And so she got it for me. But it's so pretty. I don't know what to make with it. I what do you do when something's so pretty? I don't know. And it has all the colors I like, so I love yellow. Ben, going to fly, need to fix this mildly disastrous decisions I have made. Blocking, Darflina, that's what it is. Blocking. Thank you. It's been so long. I'm losing the verbiage already. Blocking, yeah. I've never done blocking, but I would like watch about blocking, and I still wasn't understanding why. I guess that just helps the project keep its shape, I think. Then yeah, I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I need to see. I need to see you and what you've done. Cat paw. The felting kind of stabilizes the knitted garment so it doesn't unravel. Okay, that's interesting. I'm learning. Definitely not. I have shopped at the quarter stitch a few times. New Orleans is where I went earlier this month. Oh, I'm so glad my daughter went. I want to say it was earlier this year. And I was just like so happy she went. And she went to the bench. There's like a certain bench that she went to. And her teacher also loves Interview the Vampire. So they went there together and like took turns taking photos of themselves on the bench. Darfalina. Okay, love Noro. And it works beautifully in crochet patterns, especially with the granny squares. Okay, good to know. Darfalina. Sorry, I turned this into a fire chat. No, I love it. It's whatever we want it to be. This is just, I rarely do check-ins. It's not really my thing. I just think I literally was feeling like overwhelmed and thought, okay, I need to outline and talk it out for our own sanity. No, but this is beautiful. I like it. Yeah. I would just go to my local shop, craft store, and just buy whatever's there. And especially honestly during the pandemic, that was my go-to project. And I made like an insane amount of stuff that I still have like stored away in tubs and just like occasionally give out as like birthday gifts because I don't know what to do with it. So that's kind of where I'm at. All right. My yarn collection is insane, so I have limited my yarn shopping this year. But that's another thing that beyond my book buying problem was before I went like insane with the book buying. I honestly feel like I just supplemented my yarn buying with my book buying because yarn buying it was out of control, Darfalina. It was out of control. Like I and I still have so much yarn set aside stored. Um also, if you have any ideas, I have a lot of like scrap yarn. I need to make something with that. Maybe like I have to figure something. Maybe that's how I'll practice granny squares. Because I also have like a lot of loose yarn I need to do this thing with. I'm sorry, my throat is like going right now. Hold on. Definitely not. Yeah, I love my home library with my 5 bookshelves and books all over the floors. And my yarn collection and yarn supplies. It's my favorite space. Truly. Because you gotta make it yours. You gotta feel like you have like, you know, your peaceful space. But again, yes, out of control. Also, hold on, let me go back up. I have to go back up the chat because I did not finish answering Lynn's question. So sorry about my voice. It's starting to go. Oh, okay. I forgot to talk about one more book. The next book I think I'm going to read for my readathon, which I try to make a post about it too, in case anyone wants to read the same book, is I'm going to be reading The Bass Rock, which is to fulfill something about a woman experiencing violence, which is something that um, Claudia experiences at the hands of like these people that are supposed to be her parents until like her demise, basically. So I'll be reading The Bass Rock. So that's on the agenda too, as far as like the next book after Rent for my readathon. And so real quickly, I'll just read the back. It says, surging out of the sea, the Bass Rock has always borne witness to the lives that pass under its shadow of the Scottish mainland. And across the centuries, the fates of 3 women are inextricably linked to this place and to one another. Sarah, accused of being a witch, is fleeing for her life. Ruth, in the aftermath of the Second World War, is navigating a new marriage and the strange waters of the local community. And 6 decades later, Viv, still mourning the death of her father, is cataloging Ruth's belongings in the now empty house. You know what? I'm going to mute this so I could just do that thing. Hold on. I didn't want you to have to hear that. I was trying to clear my throat. Anyway, so yeah, that's the next book I'm reading. And now I'm finally circling back to answering Lynn's question, which is I have an idea for another project. It's not going to happen this year. It's the insanity of my mind. But when Ngugi wa Thiong'o passed away at the end of May, I have an idea and I've reached out to like a couple of people and a couple of people have responded. I specifically want a quarterly buddy read because a buddy read has to happen in between my readathon that's continuing next year. And I only want to focus on the memoirs that the author has written about his life. And he has 4, I believe. So one of them is Dreams in a Time of War. Then there's, I think this is about like their childhood. Then there's In the House of an Interpreter, which is their experience in the education system. There's also Wrestling with the Devil. This is the 4th one. I don't have the 3rd one yet. And I can't remember what the 3rd one is, but I don't have a copy. And I'm waiting for my local secondhand bookstore to get a copy and then I'll add it. So it's going to be a quarterly segment. We're just going to buddy read the book. So it'll only be for next year only. Again, it'll be in between my readathon. And so these are the books that I haven't read, but I'm not reading them on purpose because I'm waiting until next year. And honestly, I don't have the time. But I'm specifically reaching out to people that are aware of who the author is. So one of the people that is most likely going to do it, they already said yes, but again, things happen in life, is Noria from Noria's Chronicles of Noria. Because I was chatting with them once and they mentioned that they've read this author's like a book or 2 of theirs. So that's one person. Kiana from Sexy Lady is probably going to buddy read with me again. And then Nkechi from Library of Wonder. I don't think they're like aware of this author. I don't think they've read anything yet. But again, I specifically want to like read with people that like are aware of the author. So he's just an activist that made like an impact on actually very much like the entire continent of Africa and not just like where he's from. And so much so that he had to, he was basically like exiled for a while. But because of how things went on in his lifetime, especially me, to be honest, as American, there's so few instances of activists living a long life. He died like at an illness. Typically, let's be honest, it's usually like assassination or something. So I just wanted to celebrate his life in some way. I don't have a working title per se. I was thinking like celebrating a literary life. I might change it to celebrating an activist life. I don't know. But so much of his work and activism is like revolved around words. So that's why I want to do that next year. If I had the time this year, I do it. It's just not going to happen. Also, I've read, in case anyone's interested, you might want to check out A Grain of Wheat, The River Between, or Devil on the Cross, which he's like most celebrated for is Devil on the Cross. This is actually how I got introduced to the author, and it was all just because I knew nothing about him. I just randomly picked up the book from Barnes and Noble because I have a book buying problem, and I liked the cover. I thought it was like really cool. And if you look closely, the woman's wearing like some tennis shoes and looking out into the land, and that kind of like struck me because the author is also talking about Western colonial impact on Kenya, but then like Africa at large is a conversation that goes on. Anyway, so that's basically what's going to be going as far as like that author is concerned. And now I will totally catch up on the chat because I know I rambled for a little bit. Where was I at? Oh, I think cat paw with cat paw. Just moved house, and it is embarrassing just how many tubs of completed projects I have ready for a new home. There's just no call for it here. Too hot, 355 days of the year, but good for mental health. Yeah. Cat paw, if you don't mind me asking, where do you reside exactly? I don't know if I know that. Darfelina, passing it on is good. Most of my projects are charity work because it's hardly ever cold enough here. That's true. That is a great idea. That is what I did one year. There's a local small business owner. Zoe owns Zoe's Vintique, so they sell like vintage clothes and stuff. And every year for the holiday, for years, they'll put together like a community what do you want to say, like clothes and food drive. It's everyone's just doing it in the community, my local community, so it's just all grassroots. And so like for instance, I got rid of a lot of my beanies that way, that like brand spanking new. I just had the project set aside, some blankets I wasn't using that I realized I have a tiny apartment. I can't have excess anything. um so and then like we all make like a food dish to pass out to the homeless. And actually last year it wasn't that busy, so we made food plates for the mechanics shop that was like across the street from her, which is pretty funny. Anyways, that's went off on a tangent, but that's a great idea. That's another way for me to like, I don't know, get activated in making more like crochet projects for the yarn that I do have, because I have plenty left over. Lynn, super awesome. I'll have to do interlibrary loans, yeah, and read some Wathianga books. I wish I could tell you which one to read like first, but I really do like all his work. Yeah, Devil on the Cross is the one that really sticks out for people the most, and I really do like the way it's written. But also Was it The River Between? I thought The River Between was really good. And I think you might be more interested in this one. It was very interesting to have a discussion about like a people's like I guess like religion and traditional custom versus like Christianity encroaching and the conflict there. So that's for The River Between. And I really like that. Um, because I also feel like there's this level of like not judging, but also, yes, let's have the conversation on everything that's wrong with trying to enforce beliefs, but like in different facets, I guess. But yeah, I hope you have a chance to read his work. Cat Boss says at Darfalina, linen, bamboo, cotton blends work best in hot and humid weather. Just so hard to find here and really expensive. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Darfalina, cotton is good to wear and rough on the hands when knitting. That's yeah, that's definitely true. So, I'm over here reading this. Oh, very nice. Quintana Roo, Zona Urbana, Cancun, Mexico. That's so interesting. I don't think I knew that. I don't know why. I was just wondering. I was like, I don't think I know where you're at. Good to know. I feel like we did you mention that? I think I may have mentioned that on Margaret's channel and it slipped my mind. Last but not least, now that we're headed towards the end of the segment, usually if I do anything that's not like a book review or like not a reading segment, I'll have like a list of shout outs. But my schedule's been kind of crazy. So I'll just do two. And I'm just going to do it by sharing my screen. So let me share. You already know who C is. C's been on here. We buddy read a book for my Interview with the Vampire Inspired Readathon. But C has this like really cool new segment. Let's see if I can find it. I know it's coming on, I think, later on today. Oh, yeah, this one. She has a new segment called Geek News that I'm really liking. I think I'm already falling behind on it though. But it's not typically just C. She'll have like other guests in like the fandom. And I've really been enjoying like their conversations about like I just like the geek news aspect of it. It just it feels something in my soul, and so I'm really enjoying that. And so let's see if I could find the other one. Hold on. Oh, I did find it right away. Oh, I got lucky. So the next person I wanted to shout out are two lovely ladies. They popped up in my feed one day when I was actually doing laundry and I was trying to entertain myself. And that is Pero Coma Podcast. Or Pero Coma, right? They're two ladies, and I forgot what book I listened to that they were talking about, but they just had me laughing so hard. And I'm all about like I need to laugh as much as possible. And they recently just did a clean slate book tag because I actually was the one that tagged them. And I really enjoyed their answers. But they're just two lovely ladies and they're just like a lot of fun. So I would say check them out if you can. And after the stream, I'll add everyone I've mentioned today, just in case you want to like access our channel right away. But Pero Kama Podcast is the name. Ta-da! Here I am. Geek News sounds appropriate. We'll check out. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And C usually keeps her segments short, so it's not like you know me. I'll still keep going like right now. This would end up being an hour. Um, she tries to keep them short and sweet. I realize like anytime she does like her book club segments, they don't even fully go to an hour. The geek news I've seen have been typically like half an hour. So they're kind of like these really like bite-sized discussions that I really enjoy. Um, so yeah, that's it, everyone. Thank you for everyone for popping in on my check-in. I love you to pieces. I'm so glad I'm part of a space that connects us all, whether it's books, yarn, geekdom in some form, movies, just a little bit of everything. What's that right there? That's Gizmo behind me. So yeah, that's all I really have going on right now. Thank you for joining me in the chat. I don't want to keep you too much longer. But yeah, so thank you, Darfelina, Catpaw, Lynn. I hope you have a really beautiful day, and I will see you in the chat of my channel or others. I'll be around, right? Love you all. Bye.